Because right now, Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
All right, welcome back. This is our Xfinity tweet of the night. Ian Rappaport says it's a high ankle sprain for Alex Highsmith. Per Mike Tomlin, that normally can mean a 4 to 6 week absence and possible trip to the IR. And the injuries are stacking up, no doubt about it. Joey Porter Jr. was not available today. Deshaun Elliott not available today. Highsmith goes out, and you know they got all of a sudden in 2 weeks a whole bunch of new players coming in and out of that lineup. Also, Isaiah Loudermilk has a high ankle sprain, so he could be gone for a couple of weeks as well. And they're going to be counting on guys like Logan Lee in there and others. And they also hope that Derek Harmon can come back and be what they think he can be as a number one pick this year. But I don't know if I'd put that much pressure on him. First game coming back against New England, and Drake May and New England team that may be better than you think. All right, let's open up the phone lines, get right to them, because a lot of people want to talk, beginning with Mike in Indiana. Mike, you're on the air. Go right ahead.
Well, Bob?
Yes, sir. You're up. Go ahead.
A couple years ago, you was picking games, and you said, I'm going to pick a tie. And I thought, Bob knows. I think we're on the track for a perfect season, 8-1. What do you have to say about that?
Well, that would be under if you're taking the over and under then, because you got to get over 8 to have that. It was 8.5, and it didn't change after the Steelers signed Aaron Rodgers, which I thought was interesting, and all the moves they made. They have some holes. There's no question they got to change that. They have some potential on offense, but their offensive line, and I think one of the reasons why today there were such quick releases by Aaron Rodgers, they didn't want that offensive line to be under too much stress, so getting the ball away quickly normally helps that. But, man, you got to go down the field a little bit more. Keep in mind, while I mentioned all the Steeler injuries, Seahawks had their share too. One of their best players, if not the best player on defense, although they got some studs up front, Devon Witherspoon did not play. 2 guys from their starters in the secondary did not play. And yet the Steelers didn't really challenge the guys down the field. And I thought they should have done more of that. But again, it takes time, and you have to give Rodgers time. That means his offensive line has got to hold up. I don't know if that was the reason or not, but certainly they got to do better in terms of going down the field. If you look at the Aaron Rodgers pass chart, we showed it earlier. I mean, it was all underneath kind of stuff, and sooner or later you got to test it down the field, and we'll see if that changes moving on. Kevin D on Twitter, and you can hit us up at KD Pomp. He says, maybe the players don't have any answers because the coaching staff has no answers. And that could be true. I mean, you got to come up with something that works schematically so these guys are put in better positions. They talk a lot about communication, miscommunication, and how assignments sometimes get compromised as a result. That can happen. After all, this is a veteran group. This is the highest paid defense in the NFL by far. The second highest paid is $24 million behind the Steelers. They brought in guys who have a lot of experience. They shouldn't warm up to this opportunity. They should move in and be able to adjust quickly. And that hasn't happened so far defensively in the first 2 weeks of the season. And again, this schedule is built so they do take advantage of early games. They should at least. It gets much tougher as the season goes on. But again, injuries can change that. As we saw, Joe Burrow could be gone for some time. All right, let's go out to Will in McKees Rocks. Hello, Will. What's up again tonight?
Hey, Bob. Thanks again for taking my call, as always.
Thank you for calling.
Oh, man, you know how we are, man. I appreciate you. Listen, I wanted to ask you about the defense. Do you think they're having such a slow start because of not having any kind of snaps at all in the preseason?
I believe that, and I think about offense too. But last week the offense came out and played pretty well. But yeah, I mean, to me, you got to get a little bit of play. Chris Hoke was saying those guys, when they were back there, played a half or more in preseason games. And it wasn't too long ago that Ben Roethlisberger and company would play into the second quarter, but they don't do that anymore. And sometimes it does have an effect on how you start. But again, Will, these guys are veterans they brought in here. Deshaun Elliott's a veteran. Jalen Ramsey is a veteran, along with the guys they have who've been around here for a long time. These are all guys who've been here. They shouldn't be this behind the 8 ball when it comes to giving up yards. So this is 10 straight games they've given up over 300 yards to the other team. That simply cannot happen for what is supposed to be a very good defense. But thanks for the call, Will. Appreciate it, as always. Let's go to Ed in Bellevue. Ed joins us here on the hotline. What's up, Ed?
Hey, Bob. How are you, man? Bad day today, but I tell you what, I agree with your poll. All the above on the jail there. All the above. Hey, I'm worried about our defense, of course. One thing I'd like to say, the past 20 years, Our defense hasn't changed much. Same studs, same blitzes, same cover two. Has it gotten old? Has all the other NFL teams caught on? What do
Yeah,
you
I think there is. I think that's a
what
good
you gotta
point
say.
you raise, Ed. I think it could be stale and it could be predictable. And if it is that, they have to change that. They got to do something. This, again, is a high-paid defense, the highest in the league. Mike Tomlin prides himself on defense. Terrell Austin, these are guys who've been around. They have to adjust. We often talk about halftime adjustments. What did you see today at halftime? The Steelers took a 7-point lead into halftime, then were outscored 24-3. I realize Caleb Johnson's mistake was factored in there, but still, they gave up a ton of yards. They almost had a hat trick that you don't ever want to see in football. That is giving up a 300-yard passer, a 100-yard rusher, and a 100-yard receiver all in the same game. And if Sam Darnold had 5 more yards, that would have happened. So these are trends that have to change, and they have to change quickly because the opposition they're going to be seeing here in the next several weeks beyond their bye week are going to be very difficult to stop, and they got to figure out ways to do it. Jim and Shaler, you're up next. Go ahead, Jim. How are you?
Hey, Bob. How you doing?
Doing good. Thanks for calling.
Good. Hey, so Bob, we're gonna have a defensive head coach here. The defense coordinator is no good. You just said 10, 11 bad games in a row. T.J. Watt just on a big deal. How many sacks he got this year? I don't think he has one yet.
Not in his last 6 games.
Right. And then if you're a good running team, you can run all over the Steelers. Just shows you the last 2 games this year. And I mean, look what Buffalo did to New York today. So it just shows you New York's not any good. It might be a long season, Bob. What's your thoughts on that? And thank you. Have a good night, sir.
You too. Well, it could be. You know, I thought 10-7 was reasonable to expect this year, but I counted a lot of that on wins early on, including today's game, given the fact that Seattle was coming from west to east. Yeah, they're a good team. And I talked about this all last week when we were on this show about watch out for their front 7. They can come after you, and they certainly did. They got some big guys up there, experienced guys who made a difference. And I think, you know, the Steelers have got to stop, number one, other teams from running against them. But number 2, they got to get better in the run game too. Their average per rush was not nearly what Seattle's was today. Seattle was up to 4.5. They were 3.4. It's better than last week. And the other thing that's happening is on first down, teams are dictating what's happening with the Steelers. For example, last week the Jets averaged an astounding 8.1 yards per play on first down. That makes it easy on second and third downs, and that's why you have big plays against. Today it wasn't as bad, but still, same thing. They're going to get healthy chunks of yards on first down, and when that happens, it's very difficult. And I thought the drive that really, to me, summed it all up was the first drive for Seattle in the second half that they got. They immediately went 8 plays, 80 yards, and made it look easy down the field. A 16-yarder to Cooper Kupp, a 17-yarder to Cooper Kupp, and they just continued to just have their way with the Steeler defense. And it was way too easy for a team that prides itself on being physical. Dave in Munhall is up next right here on the Sports Call. Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, I wanted to switch the subject a little bit.
Sure.
About the run defense as opposed to the running offense. We don't seem to have any kind of plan as far as our running backs making some ground and getting short and second and third downs. I want to know who the offensive coordinator is.
Well, it's Arthur Smith, and
Arthur Smith.
yeah, and he's,
But
you
you
know,
don't seem to be getting any kind of second and 4, second and
right.
5.
In other words, and thanks for the call, Dave. Your point is this: they are not on schedule, as Mike Tomlin likes to say. When you're on schedule, that means you get a good chunk of yards on first down, setting up second and short, third and short. Those things. When you fall behind those and you have second and long all the time, or second and even 8, the defense can, you know, kind of take off on you and make plays. And I think that's what's happened in the first couple of games. So all of that has got to change. Their run game has not produced. I thought Jaylen Warren had a motor going today. I would have given him more opportunity. Caleb Johnson, he may not. He may be inactive next week after what he did today, but it is a young player making a mistake. But you can't make that mistake. They go over all this stuff. Training camp lasts for a month, and these guys go over and over. I'm sure Danny Smith does that. So he's been told that. You have to remind him once in a while, whatever. You just can't make that play in that situation. All right, let's go back to the phone lines before we sign off tonight. We have 2 more callers. First would be Bob in Beachview. Hello, Bob.
Hi, Bob. Listen, earlier tonight, or this afternoon, I said that there was 5 guys up in front in defense, and yet you guys had commented on there's different substitutions in there. Maybe it was a schematic. It goes over 2 years. I thought to me, I used to work with computers and analytical in some sense. They ought to go back and look at the tapes for all of those plays over whatever period of time and just show what the offense threw at us and who made the mistake without knowing who was in there at the time. Then go back over them, and you see which individuals were playing various positions and see if there's any pattern to it.
Well, and they do that, Bob, but here's the pattern. The pattern is no matter what they're doing, who they're playing, or what strategy they're putting in there, they're giving up yards, big yards, chunks of yards. And it has not changed in 10 straight games dating back to last year. So you can't have a defense that gives up that many yards consistently and expect to win meaningful games. And that's what happened in the playoff game last year with Baltimore. It happened twice during the season against Baltimore. Almost 300 yards rushing in that playoff game. They gouged with Philadelphia in that game. And then this year already in 2 games, 182 yards rushing. Last week the Jets put on them, and today over 100 yards again, 118. And it could have been more, but you can't win football games like that, and they know that, and they got to figure out a remedy for it. All right, let's go out to Michael in Beaver Falls. What's up, Michael?
Hey, Bobby, dig that tie. Hey, how about those Steelers? Well, you know what? So we had a hiccup today, but you know what? They are going to start gelling, and we're going to win the next game, and we're definitely going all the way, at least 13 games. Yeah, we have a lot of competition, but we got the weapons.
I appreciate your positivity, Michael, but they have the weapons, but the weapons aren't making plays. Now, whether that's the people doing that, whether it's the coaching not putting them in position, all of that has got to change. It's as simple as that. They know that, and they talk about going back in the lab. Well, you better come up with a solution in the lab, because these games are just as meaningful down the stretch. Early on down the stretch, they all matter, and you don't want to lose games that you're favored to win, and they were favored to win this one today.